Let's begin with some counting. You can see a 100 chart next to me. A 100 chart has all the numbers from 1 through to 100. We're not going to count up to 100, but let's count to 20 to begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's say the teen numbers starting with 13. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm going to show you what these look like on this hundreds chart. Say them with me. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I've changed colours to green and I'm going to colour the number 30. Say the next number in this pattern. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I started at 30 and I kept increasing by 10 until I got to the number 90. Have a listen to the difference between these numbers. I'm going to go back over to the orange ones and count. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's head back over to the green numbers and count those, starting with 30. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I want you to turn and talk about what you notice. One of these patterns is highlighted in orange. One of these patterns is highlighted in green. What do you notice about these sets of numbers? Turn and talk. I'm going to share some of the things I notice about these sets of numbers. I noticed that the number 13 and 30 both start with the sound. My tongue's out between my teeth and I'm pushing some air out to make the sound 13, 30. They both start with that sound. I noticed the same thing about 14 and 40. They start with the sound like for fox. The letter F is making the sound for 14 and 40. I noticed the same thing about 15 and 50. They start with the sound as well. 16 and 60, they start with 17 and 70, they start with the sound 18 and 80 start with the same sound as well. And the same for 19 and 90. At the end of these numbers, though, there's something different. I can hear teen at the end of the teen numbers. 13, 14, 15. Teen means 10. And that makes sense because in the teen numbers, there's a group of 10 and some more. I notice in the green pattern, when we're increasing by 10, there's a 0 on the end of all of those numbers. And I notice that when we say those numbers, I can hear the number that sits first. Have a listen to what I mean. If I say 40, I can hear the 4 coming out first. 40. There's a 0 on the end of all of these numbers because there's no and more. There's no ones. These are groups of 10, so the 0 on the end makes sense. To finish up your warm-up today, I want you to write a pattern. I want you to be able to explain to somebody nearby the pattern that you wrote. You could choose to write the teen numbers increase by 1. You could choose to increase by 10, like the green pattern. You might choose something else. Once you have your pattern written down, read through it to make sure it makes sense to you, and then I want you to explain it to somebody else nearby. I wonder what number pattern you'll write today.